Good evening, guys. My name is Aarin, and I am the host of the first episode of the Author's Corner. Here with me, I have none but the other, Author Everlazt.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Great, my brother. And we are going to begin with his first writing, R.A.W. Then we're going to jump into R.A.W. 2. You ready?
I'm ready.
So might I say, it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening.
It's a pleasure being with you.
I read both R.A.W. 1 and R.A.W. 2, and it is very captivating.
Thank you.
I couldn't stop turning the pages, so I loved how you provided readers with an opening into these characters. I know you say they're fictional, but they felt like real life.
Well, I mean, I took pieces from different people, I guess. You know, maybe a name from this one, a style from that person, or a look from that person, but no one is all one person, so nobody's gonna sue me. Nobody's gonna sue me, okay?
But it was great. I loved it. It felt like real life. And I also love how you morphed each character's style so that way they coincide with one another.
Yeah, I wanted to, you know, lives, when people write about people's lives, you're blending lives. And sometimes this one might get forgotten, or, you know, they just might mention this one, but the incidents that they're in, you know, they all involved and they all have different walks of life. So I just tried to bring that out of each individual, what they're going through and how it affects them and their family. You know what I'm saying? Because even though I'm running with you in the street, I still got my own family at the end of the day to deal with. So I just wanted to put that together like
Absolutely.
that.
And you did a great job.
Thank you.
My favorite part of R.A.W. 1 was when you put Mama K into go mode when things hit the fan. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to ruin it for the readers. But yeah. You really put her into go mode. That was really interesting.
Okay.
And my favorite part of R.A.W. 2 was when Melissa lost hope before seeing Dre.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it, though.
Oh, I was about to give it to you. But, yeah, I just wanted to blend them two stories together. Mama K is definitely the rock of the family when Pop goes to jail. A lot of people know that part already, so I'm not spoiling anything. But the twist with Melissa and Dre and Daquan in part 2 is what it's all about. So I just wanted to bring that out, you know, give it a little flair with that.
Then that was cool. Now tell us a little bit about Author Everlazt and what your upbringing was like.
Wow, I grew up in over here in the South Bronx in Patterson Projects. Me, my mom, and my sister for a while until my mom got tired of me being a little me and sent me to Queens. So I guess that's when the story started picking up.
Okay. And can you take us on your journey of how and when you began writing?
I began writing when I was in prison. I thought about, I always had, you know, the love to write. And I wanted to write something different. But it wasn't the thing of writing it. It was, how I'm going to sell it, you know. Like, am I going to go home and deal with a publishing company or something like that? And at the time, True to the Game came out. And I saw how she was moving, how Terry Woods was moving her books. And I said, you know, if I could go home and I could press my own book, I could do the same thing. I know I got talent to write a good story. So after watching the market and stuff like that, when I finally did come home, I put it into play like that.
That sounds good. And throughout your journey, were there times that you felt like giving up?
A lot of times, because it's hard. A lot of people that write don't understand how hard it is to try to publish your own book. and not only publish it, but promote it, stuff like that. So I gave up a million times, but as you can see, it didn't work.
It didn't stop you.
Yeah, it didn't work. I had to keep going. So I'm blessed, and I like the result.
To be a writer, you gotta have a love for words. Tell us when you had that love for words.
Well, basically, I had a girlfriend at the time. I was locked up. I was on Rikers Island, and she brought me some books. And I just got locked up for my case, and I'm like, "What do you bring me books for?" You know what I'm saying? And she was like, "Just to read it." And I was like, who is it? And she said, Walter Mosley. I brought you some Walter Mosley books. She brought me 2 books. I think it was White Butterfly and something else. And she said, he's the guy that wrote Devil in the Blue Dress and the movie and all this other stuff. And I was like, a black guy wrote that? So I honestly, at the time, I didn't believe that black people wrote books like that. Like, I read, the first book that I read from cover to cover was Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad. And, his book, it was different. It wasn't like a book like this, like a storyline. His book was real life. So when she brought me books from people that write stories like that, I was freaked out, like, what? So after a while, because I didn't read it right away, after a while I read it and I was impressed. I was like, wow, black people write like that? So I started, studying a lot, because I was locked up for a little while. So I started studying a lot, and I seen that my writing skills can be just as good as theirs. But I got a different storyline. Their storylines is more of the lines. It wasn't urban, you know what I'm saying? It was black people's stories, but it wasn't the times in life that I lived. So I felt like if I can lay down the times in life that I lived and make it make sense, then I can get something going with that, and then put messages in it and stuff like that. Because it's all like, it's not just a one-sided thing. It's not just you just telling a story. You gotta send a message, help someone do something, you know what I'm saying, with that. So that's why I did it like that. But he was one of my big influences. And when I got a hold of Omar Tyree and a whole bunch of people, Zane, and they all was a different category. Then I ran across the Donald Goinses and the Iceberg Slims, and I said, okay, they got some street stuff going on, you know what I'm saying, but what about today? Around the time, it was like 1997, 98, stuff like that, 99. So I figured once my storyline started getting together with it, and I started laying it down, I felt like I could really storm with the big doors with this.
And it sounds also like the stories, from reading Raw 1 and Raw 2, it seems very relatable, not only to the community, but to people who are also in the same predicament as you.
Yeah, I just wanted to, a lot of the stories that, we in a microwave era where everybody wants something now,
right.
And they don't understand the journey that people go through to get to the places that they at. So these boys in these books, they going through their own personal journeys, growing up in the projects in Brooklyn, and father goes to jail, or this one's father's not there, this one's mother is smoking crack, whatever the case may be. But they have a journey, they have a story. A lot of people will say, oh, well, if they see the kid and he's a rapper, whatever he is, and they feel like he just walked out the bed, and this is what happened, when that's not what happened. So I had to display their journeys from young to their teenage years to them doing these things that they're doing in the street. What happens when you do them? What's the consequences, if there is any? Because some people get away with it,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what's the consequences, and what's going to happen after that? You know what I'm saying? Hopefully the right person will read and see that things do happen if you don't slow down. Maybe I'll catch somebody. Maybe I'll hurt somebody. You know what I'm saying?
I love the authenticity of the struggle as well. The way you depicted. I don't want to give too much away, but Daquan and Deshaun and P and all of them.
Yeah, they had a real life struggle going on within themselves. Pop was their everything. He was the man of the house, even though Fat P and Dre didn't live in the house with them. He still was like a father to them. So him being missing from that whole equation kind of messed them up, all of them, in their own different ways. So I had to, point that out or show that. So,
are there any characters that you can say that you feel more connected to than the other, or any characters that you wrote about that after writing you said, damn, this sounds like me?
Nah. Nah. I mean, they all got a piece of me, but nobody's me, and I try to keep them at bay with everyone. It's like having a child. It's like having a bunch of kids. You can't say, well, Mikey's my favorite kid, because now you're going to have a fight in the house.
Right.
So I leave it like that. Everybody's equal. Everybody's good.
Could you say that any of them are based on any people that you came across during your lifetime? I know you say in the beginning you do say everything is fictional and you change some names around, but is it anything that's from throughout your journey?
Nah. We don't know these people. We don't know these people. We may know the area, we may know the projects, we may know Fulton Street and Queens, Left Rag, because I got a lot of different places in these books. You know what I'm saying? It's all New York City out, and nobody.
All right.
We don't know nobody.
We'll keep it at that.
Yeah, we don't know nobody.
You want to tell us about how you came up with the acronym R.A.W?
Wow, real always wins. I figured it's so much fake stuff going on, and a lot of people don't realize that if you're real with yourself and you're real with the people that you deal with, you may win the game. You know what I'm saying? Because we all playing the game of life. So that was one route. And then when I came with part 2 of Winners Never Quit, Winners Never Win, I said, well, these people have this struggle that they going on. And if you give up, you might not win the game. You know what I'm saying? Or you may not know what may be the outcome. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to put it in words like that. Just don't give up on your struggle, or whatever it is, or whatever goal that you put together. If you're real with that goal and you're real to yourself and you're real to the people around you, you should win the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how I came up with that.
Interesting. And can you tell us a little bit about the cover of Raw 1 and the cover of Raw 2?
Well, I needed to be simple with that, and honestly, to tell you something funny, this was supposed to be the cover for Raw 1.
Wow.
I couldn't find the right artist to put it together for me, and I found that I can do that and run with that. So I ran with that, but I finally found an artist that can do it, and it was too late. I had already pressed that. So I said, well, I'll save the image for part 2. And that's what I did. I used the image for part 2.
Will there be a part 3?
There's not going to be a part 3.
No.
What there is going to be is a series,
okay.
A visual series that we're putting together. It's going to be called Raw Real Always Wins the series. And trying to get that on your local TV stations if you hear me.
And that'll be a web series?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can you give us anything about what can we expect from those two
in the web series? Nah, you gotta watch that. This is gonna be dope. This is gonna be dope. You don't want to miss that. I'm telling you right now. This is gonna be dope.
I also see you have another writing up here, Journey to the Kingdom of Soul. Can you just give us a little synopsis of that one?
Journey to the Kingdom of Soul is it's like my creative brainchild. I wanted to mix like medieval times, like castles and foreign lands and I just wanted to make a whole nother world and take the essence of hip hop and blend that with it.
Wow.
So what I did was I invented this world, and you have people with special powers. The power is through the voice of song. So if I'm a king, and I'm a king for a reason, that means I can speak to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And the way how I speak to the people is through my voice, through my song. My song may be a rhyme. So I built a city called the Brook. I don't want to give away too much, but I'm going to give it away anyway. The Brook. And the Brook is ran by Papa Big. Papa Big has his peoples, PD the Wizard, who lives in the basement. He has D Tiger. He has Little K. He has Lady Light. Just a lot of different elements. If you knew that 90s era of hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to throw it out there or where it came from, but you'll feel the story and you'll understand where I was going with it, with the state of hip hop and how it's under attack, and how they're trying to industrialize hip hop, which they did by now.
Culture vultures.
Yeah, culture vultures. Yes, yeah. Shout out to Dave. Culture vultures. But that was my thing right there. I seen how hip hop was shifting at the time, and I had a lot of time on my hands, so I put that thing together. I said, what if we had our own land and we wanted to defend it from culture vultures? What would happen? You know what I'm saying? And what would be the most powerful place for us to have protection? The Kingdom of Soul. Who would run that place? Queen Mary Jane. So I went with that. I ain't gonna give you too much more, but because I got Journey to Kingdom Soul Book 2 coming.
I know you mentioned earlier that your girlfriend had bought you some books during your incarceration. Would it be okay if we touch into that and share a little bit about your experience? Was you a reader before she bought you the books?
Nah, actually, I wasn't reading anything besides Money in the Source magazine.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Before I got locked up. And she definitely sparked something in me when she brought me those books. So shout out to you. You know who you are. And thank you.
Well, that sounds good. After reading the books, did it trigger any creativity? Did it inspire you to write these other 3 books?
Not at the time. When I read, I was reading for a long time. But at the time, when I was incarcerated, I was really dealing with my case a lot of law work and stuff like that. So I didn't really have time to focus on writing myself. The only writing I was doing was motions to get out of jail. But once I started, one day I was in the box, and in the box you don't have anything but paper and a pencil, and I wrote a rhyme, and I got on the gate, and I'm like, yo. It was me and 3 other guys on the gallery, and I spit the rhyme, and he's like, yo, I didn't know you know how to rhyme. I didn't know you wrote rhymes. And I was like, I don't. And he's like, yo, keep writing. And I was like, you know what? Why not? So that went from writing rhymes to writing poetry, straight up poetry. So I wrote a lot of poems, and then one day I thought about writing a book. And I started, but it didn't work out too well because I ended up in the box again. And kind of lost the stuff, but after a while, I did sit down one day and I said, you know what? If I make it out of jail, what am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? That was the eye opener right there. If I make it out of prison, what am I gonna do? I didn't want to come home and work for nobody, even though the reality is you gotta come home and get a job and stuff like that. But at the time, I'm rebellious, and I'm like, I don't want to go home and work for nobody. What am I going to do? I'm a hustler. And that's when I caught wind of the urban novel thing going around, and I was like, I could write. I know I could write a good story, and I can press it and I can sell it. I'll be good. So that's where the journey went from that. It went from start writing rhymes, and I ended up in prison. I probably wrote about 8 books.
Wow.
Like 3 movies and probably like 400, 500 poems. I had numerous rhymes because I was going to be a rapper.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? but as you're getting older in there, you're like, I'm not going to go home and be no damn rapper. You know what I'm saying? But so I had a lot. I had a lot of training with myself of writing and going back and forth with people on the gate and showing people, you know, what I wrote. So I had a nice little run with that.
Now, can you explain us, those who don't know, what the box is?
Oh, the box. 23-hour lockdown where you get to learn yourself.
And write rhymes.
And talk smack on the gate all day. You know what I'm saying? And argue with dudes all day. But I learned a lot in the box. I remember I had a good brother next door to me. His name was Sincere. He's from Queens. And Sin had a bag. It had to been, you know, like a glad garbage bag full of books.
Wow.
And I've never been next door to nobody that had all like black books like that. He had books on Africa and, you know, all different parts of Africa. He had the Africana. Like, people don't even have the Africana in real life, like in the street. They don't even know what that is. It's a big giant black dictionary of black people and black stuff. You know what I'm saying? I read his whole entire cell. He was my neighbor for 6 months. We was in that box next door. I read his whole cell. I read everything he had in there. From that, I was a beast with it. You know what I'm saying? But I learned a lot from that. In that time in the box. And that's what made me sit down and say, all right, if I could write something good and, you know, do the covers, and started designing my own covers and stuff like that. So shout out to the people that's in the box right now. I know it's hard, but we gonna make it. If I made it, we gonna make it.
In your time in the box, out of these 3, which one did you work on first?
Real Always Wins.
The first
Real Always Wins was always my baby. That was like, you know, my original song right there. And I didn't write Journey to the Kingdom of Soul till like 3 books later when I came up with that idea, because I wanted to be different. I wanted to come back with something different, and that was that around that time. So I mean, Raw took me about 6 to 8 months to write.
Okay.
Journey to the Kingdom of Soul took me a good 6 months strong. I'm hitting that. I probably was hitting that day and night. When I caught that idea, when I caught that bug right there, I probably was hitting that day and night, waking up. A lot of stuff. The web series that I was putting together, Cash Flow. Cash Flow is another one. Took me a couple of months, not too long, to put that together. So I got a lot of joints. But Raw was the one, it was my original, so it probably took me longer to do than anything else. Now I'm natural with it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm natural with it. I could write a book on a train. You want to get technical. Like I done went to work every day writing on a train, you know, without none of that stuff.
So you did have to work for somebody after your release.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's the reality of this. You know, you got a PO sitting on the other side of the desk telling you, listen, man, you don't get a job, I'm gonna take your ass back to jail. And you're like, damn, man, fuck. Gotta go find this and do that. But it's all good. I learned a lot, man. I don't take nothing from that whole run. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was supposed to do that. I was supposed to live that. I was supposed to make that run. I was supposed to learn, because whatever I learned, I'm supposed to teach to other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I learned that. I understand that. That's why Raw 2 is so heavy with what happens when you get jammed up with the people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How long did it take you to write Raw 2?
Probably like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I told you,
Wow.
When I right now, when I sit down and I focus on writing, you just can't stop me. I don't know how to stop until I'm finished. I don't know what that is, where it comes from.
It's a bug.
Yeah, but it's hard. I sit there and I really go in until I'm finished.
And how long did it take you to write Journey to the Kingdom of Soul 2?
Oh man, that took me about another good 6 months
6 months.
to put that together. So, and I'm still tweaking it, but it's there.
So throughout your incarceration, you wrote all 3 of these books?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. I figured that if I write the work while I'm there, then all I would have to worry about is the business aspect of it when I touch the town. So I would have the work already. Not knowing that I would have to type this stuff and all of that and deal with the editor and all this other stuff that people don't realize when you're writing a book you got to deal with. But the dream was there.
Absolutely.
The dream was there and I was determined. And I was like, yo, as long as I got the work, I'm good.
And what kept you, or what keeps you rather, influenced after all this time?
What keeps me going? Leaving something to my kids, something solid. You know, like my son is not a writer, you know what I'm saying? But I know that if I leave him something tangible, a solid company or something to deal with, he'll be able to move with it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that he's gonna write books or anything, but he'll be able to do something with it. I feel like that's important, that we leave our kids something.
Out of all 3 of these pieces here, what is one thing from each book that you want readers to grasp?
Well, out of the R.A.W series, I want them to grasp that it's real life stuff going on out here, and don't take your time out here for granted. You know what I'm saying? Because as they can see, a person like Daquan who was rolling out here
Right.
can just lose it in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? And from Journey to the Kingdom of Soul, oh man, I just wanted to entertain people with something different and to let them know that the state of hip hop is under attack. Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you look at it, it's under attack. So just be on point and stay woke.
Now I see on your shirt, R.A.W 1, R.A.W 2, The Journey to the Kingdom of Soul, The Bando Snatcher on YouTube, and Cabin Love, Letters of Fate. What is the Bando Snatcher? And tell us, how can we view that on YouTube?
The Bando.
And tell us about the Cabin Love.
The Bando Snatcher is about a homeless man in New York City who uses the law of squatter rights to house himself in New York City. So they came to me with this story, and I listened to him, and I said, you know what? Yeah, let's write that, let's film that, let's shoot that, let's do that, because it was interesting, and I was dumbfounded on how he was living. So you can go on EverDomo Media channel on YouTube, and it's there. The Bando Snatcher is there with other works that I produced and stuff like that.
Hold this up for the viewers one time so they can see all of it.
Yeah, the Bando is serious. He's a very intelligent person, but the Bando is serious. And the way how he lived is serious. You know what I'm saying? Cabin Love, Letters of Fate is a work that I published for the writer Latoya Monique.
Okay.
It's a romance, steamy romance novel, and I liked the story when she brought it to me, and I said, yeah, let me put that on the roster.
I'm a guest host for this interview, and hopefully I'll be back for more, God willing. And the Author's Corner is your brainchild, I see. It came from a struggle, I must say, from incarceration to production. What are your aspirations for the Author's Corner?
I want to give other authors a platform that we don't have to, talk about their work, talk about who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You rarely know the author or the writer. You know what I'm saying? And being that it's getting so scarce nowadays, you see that the market is changing behind that. So I just want to be one of the faces that gives people that platform to speak who they are and what their work is about and what made them do it.
So it's kind of gonna be like you said, a platform for up and coming writers or writers who have already published. What do writers need to know in order to be on this show?
Well, you have to have a published joint already, whether you self-published it or you got a publishing company or whatever.
It has to already be published.
Yeah, you gotta have a tangible book that we can display and tell the people where they can get it from.
What's next for the Author's Corner?
More authors. We got some people lining up that want to tell their story. So we're going to drop those periodically.
Thank you for allowing me to be the first guest host of the first episode ever.
It's a pleasure.
I know this is your brainchild, so hopefully I'll make a good impression.
Yeah, I think you'll be back.
Great.
We'll see what's going on. If you want her back, all you got to do is DM me and let me know something. I got you.
And
You good?
Yeah.
Nah, we good. Thank you.